So I feel like this idea of what must stop
Right. Right.
so that you can courageously rest and care for your whole holy self, right?
Right.
Audaciously care
Right.
for the truth of who you are and prioritize that divinity.
Hmm.
Also requires, like you said, it requires the arresting of maybe false thought, the arresting of bad behavior, the arresting of habits that don't serve.
Yep.
And how do we arrest? How do we stop what needs to be stopped?
Right.
And for me, part of that is like being honest about lay your burdens down, but you got to admit you are burdened.
Hmm.
You
Right.
have to admit to yourself, at the very minimum,
Hmm.
that some shit is not working.
Hmm. Right. And if we talk about just in general, the concept of the legal system, the person that's getting arrested, and I'm not talking about the systemic thing because that's a whole different
Right.
conversation there. I'm just saying in general, the concept of the person that's getting arrested has been engaging in behavior that is against the law. So we have this concept of the law, life affirming faith, our divinity. What are we engaging in that is counter to the law, to principle, to universal truths, etc.? If I am addicted to worry, lack, scarcity, self abuse in whatever form, if I am addicted to that and that's what I'm doing, then I am quote unquote breaking the law. I am being bound by precedent, not freed by principle, etc. So I have
Mm-hmm.
to be able to identify the behavior that is counter to and then arrest it, stop it, put whatever into place to reduce the likelihood that it will reoccur in order to now be fired up about all that this idea, which you mentioned about, this life affirming faith and spirit, in order to be fired up, in order to be like on fire with, in order to be, and even with the concept of, pottery, you
Mm-hmm.
fire up the kiln in order to make the clay solid and a usable vessel. How are we firing up and becoming solid in this faith and solid as the incarnation of spirit and solid as X, Y, and Z? But I've got to be able to identify, which means I've got to have a boldness to name a thing a thing.